Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Scaling Season podcast. I am your host, Jolite Mathieu, and today I really want to talk about what's required to win with paid advertising in as of end of 2025 and beyond. And this episode was really inspired by the conversation that I had recently with one of my clients, and she just came in to work with the agency, and she said, "Jolie, I've seen what you've done working with other founder." In the coaching space, I want to have similar result. I want to what allow this client that you work with to have like a $500,000 launch or $500,000 month. I want to get to that level as well. And as we were discussing, there were some things that she said that kind of reminded me a couple of examples of clients that were not able to have the same level of success. And I really want to highlight those things because you might have them subconsciously or even consciously. And that might be the reason why you haven't quite been able to get results with paid advertising, right? And if you actually adopt these principle and this perspective and have this conscious mindset shift, I can literally guarantee that you're going to see incredible results with your paid ad strategy moving forward. It's literally the one thing that might make or break your next success for your next campaign, or that can actually propel you to the next level if you actually implement it properly, right? And if you've just come across the podcast for the first time, my name is Jolie Mathieu, and I've been doing this work for the past half a decade almost. And my goal has always been to help help entrepreneur thrive no matter what the economy looks like. And my vehicle of choice to make that happen has been paid media. That's really what I'm the best at. And in this video, I really want to break down, right? I really want to break down what's required in this economy, in this climate that we are currently in, what's required for you to win with paid media. And because I know something for sure about you, if you're listening to this podcast, is because you want to win, you want to be the best that you can potentially be at your game. You want to serve your client at the highest level. And you want not just you don't just want to scale your income, but you also want to scale your impact. You want to have maybe a legal team. You want to have a business that actually impacts life beyond border. Doing so without having to constantly feel overwhelmed and feel like you have to spend 16 hours a day working on your business and figuring things out. And you are looking for not just impact, but you're also looking for profits. You're looking for more peace. You're looking for more predictability in your business. And one of the best vehicles to do that is actually by using paid ads. But how do you do that actually properly? How do you do that actually the right way? That's what we're going to unpack in today's episode. And I'm really excited about this one because it's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've had an episode on the podcast. So what's required to win with paid media? I want you to understand something fundamentally. I want you to start by considering that I want you to start seeing paid media not just as an investment trick or a marketing strategy. I want you to see paid media as an investment. I want you to see your ads strategy as an investment. And why am I saying so? Because if you do things properly, when you invest into paid media, let's say that you invest €1, right, or $1, you can literally have three, four, $5 within the next 15 days, within the next 30 days, within the next 5 days, right? And we've seen it happen with dozens and dozens of clients. So I know just the power. Like we've helped hundreds of clients scale with paid ads. So when done properly, you can literally invest $1 into paid ads and have 3x, 4x, or even 12x on the back end, which means that it's actually an investment. And once you start considering ads as an investment class, like you would a stock or a real estate, you start shifting the way in which you perceive how you are investing into paid media, right? That's really the first thing which I want you to think through, like through these lenses, because it's really going to allow you to stop being afraid and emotional, and very overwhelmed about your ad spend. But beyond just that, there are two mental blocks which I've seen over and over again that kills any founder ambition and goal when it comes to scaling paid ads. And the first one is that once they start getting profit with their paid strategy, let's say that they've spent 10K, 12K on ads or 20K on ads. And when they have that profit, they take the profit and they go and use it for lifestyle, right? They use it to buy a new car, to go on vacation, to just enjoy life. And that's a mental block, because what's happened there is that you're not allowing your profit to really compound. You're not allowing that exponential growth to really happen to the point where you're actually now able to, do so in a way that's actually more aligned with your vision, with your purpose, and also with the vision that you want to create for your life. So that's the very first thing, using the profit from the ads too soon. The second mental block, which I see happen over and over again as well, is not really on understanding that advertising is an asset, not a cost, like I just said earlier, right? And the reason why I say that it's an asset, not a cost, it's an investment, not an expense, is because if you think about what an asset is, right? An asset is something that it's a system that you put money in and that predictably turns into more money on the long run, right? And that's basically what paid ads is. It's like you are actually putting money in your business, in your marketing, and you are growing your company by also building equity in your company, right? And in turn, it makes your business not only stronger, but also more profitable if you do things properly. So let's consider other assets classes that we have, right? It might be Bitcoin, it might be real estate, it might be a stock, right? When you think through that lens, how long does it take for you to get an ROI once you invest in real estate or in a stock? Most people, when they invest in their stock portfolio, they wait 20 years, 30 years, at minimum 10 years. That's what they tell you. You need to wait for at least 15 years or 10 years, like bare minimum, to actually take the money out of the market. Because if you do it too soon, what happens is that you're actually not seeing the result, the compound effects of your investment. When you invest in the real estate, for instance, even if you're doing fix and flip, right? Where you are buying a home, you are putting a down payment, and then you want to flip the house a couple of months later. That typically takes you minimum 6 months, typically sometimes even 3 years, right? For that transaction to go through. And in both of these cases, not only do you have a very significant investment of time that has to go through, that has to occur before you get the profits, but also you have an upfront investment, whether that's for your stock portfolio or for your real estate, right? Or even Bitcoins. You need to put money there before you get a compound interest on the back end. And what's quite interesting is that whenever you are investing into those asset classes, we say, okay, I'm going to do it for the next 10 years. I'm going to do it for the next 20 years. I'm fine with that. And we just know that, okay, that's an asset. And I understand that it's supposed to make me money on the long run. And quite surprisingly, right, when it comes to investing into your business and using paid ads as a vehicle to actually accelerate your growth, I see so many business owners second guessing themselves. They're second guessing how powerful it can actually be for them to grow using paid ads. And they say, okay, but I've tried it in the past, it didn't work. And which really leads me to the second thing which I want you to have in mind. If you're one of those people that say, oh, we've done ads in the past, it hasn't worked, so it's not as predictable as the stock market, or it's not as predictable as real estate. And the question that I have for you is, have you ever seen an investment that just goes up without never coming down? Does that even happen? It does not. No matter the investment class that you're going to put your money into, there's just going to be volatility. That's just the name of the game. You can possibly want to get rich and build wealth as a business owner, as a founder, and have a bigger impact without being willing to navigate, the turbulences that comes with your goal. And it's the same with paid ads, because when you invest into paid ads, they're going to be seasoned, or when you initially start, you might think, oh, I've spent 3K, I've spent 5K, I've spent 10K, but I haven't gotten the return. Because you're looking at the return as the monetary value. You're looking at the return as, okay, what's in my bank account? But what I want to invite you to do, and what I want to challenge you to do, is ask yourself, what if I change my perspective? What if instead of seeing, okay, the fact that I haven't gotten what I've put in, right, as a loss, as a failure, what am I learning? What if I took this as a learning opportunity? Okay, because what's going to happen whenever you spend on ads, it's going to expose all of the flaws in your business. It's going to expose those things that you're not really comfortable showing in the big light, that you might not even be aware of, because you've operated for such a long time under a certain paradigm that because what ads are an amplifier, right? They put the spotlight on your business. They increase your visibility. They increase the awareness around what you do, around your offer, around your messaging, right? Around your backend, around your sales team and your sales skills, around your leadership skills, around your fulfillment process. So what happened is that when you start investing into paid media and you don't see the return, the initial conclusion for most business owners is saying, oh, paid ads don't work, I'm never going to do that again. But that's the wrong way to look at it. It's like you investing in a stock and say, okay, that stock went down, I'm never investing in the stock market again. Can you see how detrimental that perspective could be? If you said, oh, I've invested in Bitcoin because it went down, I'm not doing it again. Or I've bought a piece of property because the place where I bought the property depreciated. I'm never going to buy a property. I'm never going to invest in real estate again. No, it's just exposing what you're not doing properly. So if we were to break down the numbers, and I'm taking this example because I'm taking these examples because those are investment classes where I'm actively investing as well, besides just my business and on entrepreneurial venture. But I know you are. I know you are someone that's interested into building wealth. You're someone that's interested into building a legacy. That's why we become entrepreneur in the first place. We want not just the money for the sake of the money. We want the freedom that comes with the money. We want the option, the choice. We want the impact, right? So I know you are diversifying your income and you are investing into different asset classes. And I really want to invite you to actually change your perspective, because once you change your perspective in the way in which you look at paid media, it changes everything. It's not a fad. It's not something that's going to be here and don't disappear tomorrow. It's never going to go away. And if you want to build a business that stands the test of time, no matter what happens in the economy, paid media is your best bet to getting there. And I say this because I've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs over the past 5 years, and I just look at the numbers. I look at the results, and they speak for themselves, right? So if you were to break down the numbers, if you are, let's say, to invest into a real estate, a property, let's say that it's like a $1 million property, you might be required to put 20-30% down payment. That's 200 or 300K that you're gonna have to put down. And you might, like, the annual return that you might look at are anywhere from 5 to 20%. Right? And it might take, now let's look at the time frame that you might need to wait before you get your return on investment. You might need to wait a couple of decades. I've bought a property recently, and I know, okay, that's something which I've bought, a rental property, but I know I'm not even thinking about recouping my investment. Now I know, okay, that's going to take minimum 10 years. I don't even think about that anymore because I know how long it is going to take me to get there. Now, if you compare that to your paid ad strategy, it's a 30-day cash velocity, which means that within that 30 days, you can expect anywhere from a 2 to 3x ROI, bare minimum. Right? Meaning that if you put, like in the case, let's just look at, you put $200,000 or $300,000 in your paid ads, you want to expect within 30 days, you can have back 400,000, 600,000 if you've put in 200K. That's like what a 2 or 3x ROI looks like. And so what our biggest success stories, like our clients that we've helped scale to $500,000 a month and beyond, what they've all had in common is that they were really smart about how they went about their ad strategy. They literally fund the investment on their credit card and were, okay, I'm going to take a line of credit, I'm going to use it for the ads, and within 30 days, I'm going to pay it off. And so they're literally making money out of thin air at this point. They're literally using money to actually make more money without even spending their own money. And so you need to see investing in paid with the same seriousness and the same level of conviction and the same level of focus as you do with other investment classes. Because why? It's going to change everything for you, right? Instead of being like, oh, I'm just going to put in 3K and see what happens, you need to be like, okay, how much can I put? What's the maximum that I can put in? Because I know what I'm going to get on the back end. Instead of thinking, oh, I've put 3K and it didn't work, I'm just going to stop because it hasn't worked. You're going to be like, you know what? It hasn't worked, but I'm going to figure this thing out. Who do I need to hire? What have we done wrong? What was the bottleneck here? Because you are going to be committed to making it work because you know the ROI behind the strategy. The reason why you keep on starting and stopping, the reason why you are not willing to invest and go bigger, and you just use this baby number of, okay, I'm going to spend 5K on ads, I'm going to spend like 10K on ads. Those are baby numbers. If you want to scale your business to 7-figure, multiple 7-figure, which is what you want to do, you're gonna have to play bigger. You're gonna have to play bigger game. And so to come back to the conversation which I had earlier with this client that came in and she was like, oh, I've seen what you've done for these clients of yours. I see that you've helped them scale to $500,000 in a month or even more. what happened there? How was that possible? And I had to be honest with her. I was like, okay, this is how much they spend on ads, right? They were able to get a 5x, 6x ROI on ad spend, but we had one client that had like a $700,000 month. And in order to have that $700,000 month, she spent close to $200,000 on ads to have that ROI. We had one that had a $300,000 month, and she spent 30K on ads to make that happen. But that's not common, right? We have a client that had like a $450,000 month, and she spent close to $100,000 to make that happen. And that's within 30 days of that happening. And so I told this client, I know you are starting to work together, and you are willing, you are a little bit, you feel a little bit shaky around spending on paid media. But if you really want to get that to that level, you're gonna have to spend more. That's just how it works. You can be spending, if you are in a place where you say, I only want to spend 5K on ads, you can spend 5K on ads and expect to have $500,000 on the back end. Right? I had to be very honest with her. Right? So I really want you to have that in mind. Take it as a serious investment and understand the power that it can have on your business. And typically, whatever you are looking to achieve is always on the other side of what you are very scared of. And I know for so many entrepreneurs, they're like, okay, I've done this organically. I've built my business to 7-figure organically. I've never invested in paid ad because I don't see why I should. But my question to you is, how was that journey? Are you in a season where you can really say, okay, I've built this business organically, but now if I want to take a step back, things are still going to work. Things are still going to scale because I've built a machine. I've built an evergreen system. Most clients that come to us in a season where maybe they wanted to get pregnant and they realize, oh, if I want to get pregnant, I want to spend time with my family, I can't be creating content as much as I did in the past. And if I stop creating content, guess what happens? My income flow stop. So a lot of them had to take sabbaticals. They had to hit a pause because they couldn't be the face of their business because they are the face of the brand. And because they never took the time to figure out how to build an acquisition system that delivers results even when they are not working. So that it allows them to actually be free. Because the reason why you created your business is not so that you could work 7 days a week for the rest of your life. Absolutely not. Because your business ultimately is a vehicle for you to have an impact, but also to have freedom, to have options, and to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to pull the brakes. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to focus in this season. I want to prioritize my family. I want to prioritize my loved one. I want to prioritize my health. I want to prioritize just having fun, and you want to build a business in such a way that when you decide to step back for whatever reason, the business can still grow without you. And that's why having a data-driven approach and not being emotional about what's required to grow is going to help you so much, right? Because if you say, okay, I've invested this much, it hasn't gotten a result, and now you are all emotional about the results, instead of just looking at the data and the numbers and saying, okay, what didn't work? Was it our conversion rate on the opt-in page? Was it our show rate on the calls? Was it our closing ratio? What's our open rate on the emails? Because it allows us to understand, okay, what's the quality of the leads? What's our engagement rate on the ads? Right? What campaigns are working the best? Like, what's the click-through rate, even on the forefront? Okay, which creative are working the best? Which type of messaging are attracting the best quality of leads? What are people saying on the sales call? Instead of looking at those different KPIs to assess, okay, what do we need to invest? What do we need to investigate and go deeper on? You just get emotional. You say, oh my God, it's not working. I've wasted money. This is not going to work for my business. But the question that I have for you is, look around you. And I challenge you to show me any 8-figure business owner that hasn't done it, that hasn't gotten there with ads. Or even any multi-person business owner that did it with that paid ads. It's really like, maybe there's 1 in a million. Maybe because they had a huge audience and they just love creating content every day. But most company most founder that are serious about scaling without burning themselves to the ground are using a paid acquisition machine. Right? And unlike traditional investments, you can fix the variable. The variable are under your control. You can dramatically improve the odds around you succeeding by changing your strategy, by optimizing what's not working. When you invest into the stock market, you have no control. There are some years you're gonna get 14%, like this year, for instance, in some investment. There's some years you're gonna have like minus 5%, and you cannot do anything about it. It's just the way the market has decided to go. The same with real estate, or the same with the Bitcoin. Once you put money into those asset classes, you put it and you forget it. But that's different when you invest into paid ads. When you invest into paid ads, you can change the game. You can dramatically improve your performance depending on the action that you decide to take. Right. And so we had the client that came in and they were like, okay, you know what? I've been running this business successfully. I've gotten 7-figure without investing a single dime on ads. They initially even had content around why not to invest into paid media. That's how against they were about the whole thing. And so then when they came to us, they were like, you know what? I've been doing successfully. I've gotten 7 figures, but season have changed. And I'm in a season now where I even consider selling my business and getting to something completely different because I feel like I fell out of love with what I'm doing. But I'm wondering if I'm to sell my company, my odds of selling it with me being the face are really slim to none. So I need to think about a different way to get client in without having to always create content. Right. And so when they came in, we looked at their offers, their messaging, which client they were serving, and we realized, okay, we can make this happen. We can come up with a paid ad strategy with a channel that's going to allow you to have the biggest ROI based on your targets. Right. And so we literally added a new revenue channel for them, and they were able to generate solely from that revenue channel multiple 7 figures using paid media because they had already successful process. And we just put more fire onto what they were doing. Of course, we had to change a couple of things, the way in which they were handling the sales calls, because the way in which they were positioning themselves in the messaging, because the goal was to create a business that they could literally be removed from, because the goal was to sell the business. So the positioning wasn't so much about the founder, but really the company vision. Right. And so sometimes you are forced to get there. You are forced to either you have a contraction in terms of your client retention, or your churn rate increases, and you're forced to think about, okay, how do I, or you even see your reach has decreased on social media. You still do the same things, but it's not working as well. You are still creating content, but it's not working as well. And you're like, oh my God, do I need to then dance on TikTok right now? Is that what I have to do to save my business? Do I need to, what am I supposed to do? Because nothing is working. And my invitation to you is, if you want to step into a different season, in a season where you have more growth while working less, while having more freedom, and while just falling back in love with your business and not feeling like you are just trapped for the economy and what's happening in the economy, I really invite you to consider adding a paid channel to your acquisition strategy. It's literally going to change the game for you. Right. So the bottom line here is really start with a meaningful investment. 5K is the bare minimum. Like when a client comes to us to work with us, like 5K is where we start. Because if you really want to unlock growth, you need to be willing to bet on yourself. So start with a meaningful investment, achieve a positive ROI first and foremost. Don't give up if you don't the first 30 days. Think about it as, okay, I've gone to play the casino, I've put money in there. What happens? Let's improve what's not working. Do not get emotional. Look at the numbers. Look at the data and let the data inform you onto, okay, how do I adjust this moving forward? Right? Once you get to a positive ROI, now you really want to invest 100%. We are not taking out profits. It's like you investing into the S&P 500 and you say, okay, I've gotten 10% this year. I'm going to take the profit and I'm going to go and buy some shoes. Not a good idea. Not recommended. It's the same thing here. So you want to reinvest everything back into your business and spend for at least 6 months. 3 to 6 months is like the minimum. Because again, the goal of the business, you are building a business that's going to stand the test of time. Your business is attached to your name. And if you're one of my people, you're doing this for the long run. You're not doing this for the next 2 years or 5 years. You're doing this you want to pass the business down to your child because they're looking at you build the business and you're like, okay, I want to inspire them to do something similar. So it's like it's a legacy game for you. So what's 6 months when we are talking about building a legacy business, right? So let the compound effects make you richer. Trust the process, right? If you pull out the profit too early, it's going to keep you playing small forever. Literally. So be willing to go through the painful season and experience the growth pain so that you can actually get bigger. You can have a bigger, more impactful business on the other side. You can have bigger profit on the other side of it. Just like you let your investment in the stock market for 10, 15 years be the same, have the same mindset here. And then just let them see the magic happen, right? This is the thing is the reason why you see some people have like 70-year months with their business, half $1 million months with their business is because they have a system in place. They treat the business as a system and they have acquisition channels that they've placed to really help them supercharge their growth. And I want the same for you. And I know if you've listened this far, you have what's required to get there. But now it's a question about trusting yourself and realizing that you deserve it, realizing that you can make it happen, realizing that your business is not that different. That's something which I hear so often. My business is different. No, your business is not so different. If you are serving a human being on the other side, and if you are getting those clients online, and if you have a product, a service that you offer them, your business is not that different. And this can work for you. And unless you believe that and you are committed to making it work for you no matter what, it's always going to be a game of can this really work? And I don't want that for you, right? So while stop watching your competitor build and stop a business. Stop watching your competitor and you're like, oh my God, 5 years ago, we're at the same spot today. They are 5 times bigger, they're 10 times bigger than me. What the heck? If you want to stop that from happening, my challenge to you is stop treating advertising like an expense and start looking at it as a high return asset that it is, like a cash building machine that actually is, right? Because the fastest way to build wealth is actually to have a predictable, sustainable, and profitable system that you put into place and that works for you 24/7. Right? And that's what we really help our clients do. We really help them supercharge their growth without them having to work harder. Build system in place that allows them to grow faster, bigger, quicker, in a way that's profitable. And while keeping also the profit, because what the heck, if you are spend on ads and you are not having any profit, that's boring. That's not fun. So that's what I want to share in this episode with you. I hope you got some golden nuggets from this one. If you did, make sure to share them with me on IG, on Instagram at Julie Matthew, or on LinkedIn. That's where I'm the most active. Thank you so much for listening. If you got value from the podcast again, make sure to share it, leave us a review, like 5 stars is always appreciated. And if you want to work with us, just go at dragonconsulting.co and you're gonna have all information to apply, speak with me or the team, and we're gonna see how we can help you get to the next level. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you on the next one. And